Hey everybody, it's Thursday night, 9 o'clock. I don't usually do a midweek evening video, but I'm going to be tied up most of the weekend. I'm going to be out of town on Saturday, and thought I'd get a note out to the group, to the room. And then I thought I'd follow up on some of the tweets this afternoon, so I thought I might also use this to just put on the blog and make it public. So I'll start there with anybody that might be looking on. Twitter's an interesting mechanism, and you never know who might be yanking your chain or whatnot. But we had a good dialogue going, and the topic was stops. And I just wanted to reiterate to anyone who might be looking over my shoulder when I tweet about different things, that my view on stops remains as it always has been, and it's difficult to get across in a short tweet. But it's premise-based stops, which is if the reason one gets in a trade sequence is no longer valid, then there's no reason to be in that trade. And that's how I define a stop. I don't like that term. There have been studies done over the years showing that stops used a certain way or traditional way can actually be dangerous and long-term detrimental to your P&L. What I do believe in certainly is risk control. I manage my risk with size, and I manage my risk via premise-based stops. So, if I'm looking at converging supports, and there were probably half a dozen this afternoon at the end of the day, that certainly could not have held, right? A little bit of a black swan could have happened, certainly, but probability is as it is, was such that odds are that was going to hold, and so. Whether it held or not really isn't the issue. The issue really becomes how does one manage risk around that? And, pretty much as we'll talk about in the room and as I've talked about for years, pick a trade premise, whether it be, key price level, high volume node, low volume node, clusters, crossing moving averages, pick one. And you may want to probe with some size, before the turn, before the confirmation that the market's doing what you expect it to do, and then add certainly when you get that confirmation. And we use delta, cumulative delta, quite a bit to get that evidence, and it worked perfectly today. And that's not why I'm talking about this. And what I want to reiterate, I guess, with everybody is that. I'm seeing both with discussions that I've had with people that are going to be part of the room, as well as just some general chat out in the industry. And people are trading way too tight. Again, I will give folks the benefit of the doubt on Twitter. You never know, who's on the other side and what intentions they may have, and all that kind of thing. But giving people the benefit of the doubt and trying to help, a 1 or 2 point stop, if you want to use that term, on a ES product that's priced at 2,700, that is known for probes and fakes and spikes and tails, that's no reason to scare yourself out of a trade. And so, I just wanted to follow up on that. That's my belief in stops. Again, it's hard to discuss risk management in, X number of characters. But that's always been my approach. And if I have an error, if I have a weakness in my trading, and we all have weaknesses, it's just that. It's from scratching and re-entering for me. Even though I own a seat on the CME and my transaction costs are low, it still can eat into profits when I don't have that conviction. And that's why, getting to the room, it's going to be real important. I was talking to another trader today, or exchanging a dialogue via email anyway, and this guy's a pro. He's also a bit of an educator, and we talk back and forth about the fact that we know how important it is to have conviction in something. You gotta know or feel with conviction you're going to make that shot if you're shooting at a basketball hoop or shooting at a hockey goal or swinging the bat or hitting a golf club. Name your analogy, and having a yeah but around you constantly doesn't do anybody any good for confidence, and so. We try to raise our collective game by being with those who are better than us. And so as we, work together in a team, it's important that we all get to that same bar. It doesn't mean we're always going to make the shot, but by and large, probability as it is, it's going to happen more times than not. And it's about managing well when you do get it. So, I just want to follow up a little bit about that dialogue this afternoon. I hope that helps clarify. Those of you that have been through the jelly materials over the years know that that's how I've often taught, or how I've always taught and preached. Going on 20 years now. So again, newer folks in Twitter these days, with a room going live, I see our Twitter account is up quite a bit. I also see that. I guess, what do they say? Imitation is the best form of flattery. So there are works in the industry to duplicate, I guess, what we're looking to do here, and I certainly wish them well. And good. This world, this industry needs quality platforms, quality rooms, venues, and that's how I look at this effort. I look at this as a trading room, in terms of we're going to be linked around the world. But we're going to have infrastructure. We're going to have, again, the arrangements with the brokers. We're going to have arrangements with the provider of the data stream. We've just now launched on the member site an option for people to actually have the streaming, have the tools on your PC if you want to use it for different products. Nothing that I'm pushing specifically, but certainly making that option available because there have been some questions. That's on the members page. We've worked out a special discounted pricing arrangement just for that. So. We're going to continue to do these things. Talked to Robin again recently, Robin Dane. So we're looking good for both the Jelly program and the ongoing live effort. I get some questions from some folks that are they think they may not be good enough to be in the room. And they may they've indicated that, well, that's quite that's a steep price to be in the room. Two thoughts. First of all, if we were all really good at this, we wouldn't have a need for this sort of thing. I need a network around me. I mean, we need people around us. We need a support structure. So, if this were easy and all of us were doing this great individually, we could probably open up a social room and have it after hours. But that's not the case. We need each other. So. Please don't feel that you are not up to the task. You're being not up to the task is exactly why we are doing this. And, Verneman does his thing and FD71 does his thing. And we all have, tools that we're trying to provide to help because we know how tough it is. Is it a business of sorts? Absolutely. But what I want to have is a service where people believe they get far, far more value out of it, and it's incrementally positive to their P&L versus negative, and I really believe that we're going to get there. So, just a reminder of that, and we got to spend some money in this business. I've got overhead expenses, I've got training expenses, I've got broker, platform, travel, you name it, as a part of this, and. I was talking to someone today. There are few businesses that can have as little amount of overhead as this. So, if I were looking to rent a room full of traders, some pretty darn good ones based on people that I know who are going to be there, and with the coaching functionality and the streaming functionality and all this kind of stuff. It's like being in a physical room and you have your utilities paid for and your telephone paid for and your internet paid for. And oh, by the way, you can have some coaches come in, for $300 some a month. I'm not sure there's a place like that around there. If there is, I'll be first in line to sign up. So I'm kind of kidding here, but I'm not. Okay. If you're really serious about this, I'm glad you're a part of this, and we're going to do everything we can to give you the most positive experience possible and the best chance for success. There's no guarantees of success, but what you do have a guarantee of is you're going to have a group of committed, caring traders in there that want to help you succeed, and that's what this is all about. Otherwise, none of us should be doing this, and we'll find something else to do. So I don't want to dwell on that point, but I still see folks trying to learn how to trade, via tweet and chat and shoestring and. At some point, you've got to look at this as a serious business. I view this as extremely serious business, and I know as a trader, if I don't have that perspective, then I'm going to get sloppy. I'm going to get lazy. It's going to become a very, very expensive hobby, and that's not the case. So, my main point is that please don't feel that you're not up to the task for this. This is why we're doing it. This is why we're doing it. I hope the discussion on stops helped out a little bit. Again, you never know, kind of how these discussions go on Twitter. So I appreciate all of you who are new to the site, new to me. I'm just a trader. I've got certainly a rather unique way of looking at the markets and explaining the markets and things that I've learned over the years that have worked well for me, but mainly because of the mistakes that I've made in the past. And all I'm trying to do is share those things so that others don't make the same mistakes and spend the same amount of money that I did making those mistakes. And that's why I did the book a few years ago. That's why I did the blog, and that's why we're doing this room. So that's that. We're going to have some fun. Members, I'll keep kicking out emails. Again, member page has been updated. The password remains the same. Have a great night. We'll see you shortly. Take care. Bye.